Hey guys, it's Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. I am the owner and managing editor of the Maxfield Report, and this is our market recap for the week ending August the 30th. Last week started out with Packers, as expected, having either opted not to offer because they had people traveling, or the few who were staying home and not attending the Shanghai Fair this week did not offer as expected. The people who did offer had limited offers as we were looking for. And of course, asking prices remained very firm. As far as interest last week, basis the various conversations we had, it appears there really wasn't any improvement versus the last, say, 2-3 weeks. People picking around the edges, trying to see if they could decipher the sold forward positions of Packers bidding $2, $3, $4 down. Packers refusing to negotiate prices. So the few hides that did trade, it seems as if they did steady money. As far as those who are traveling, usually when people travel, if they're having really successful sales trips, we tend to hear about that. We are not aware of anybody laying claims to join a big round of business as they were traveling. So I'm going to say, when the export report is released here on Friday this week because of the holiday on Monday, we're not going to see anything different than the last 3 weeks. And that leaves us of the opinion that Packers ended the month of August in much worse sold forward position than they started the month, because they entered the month in pretty strong hands. So looks like, things might be getting a little top heavy in that big Packer market. As far as cow hides, plenty of hides for sale continues to happen. Even heavy native dairy cows, which had been a little bit tighter at the beginning of the month, there were offers of those and very plentiful at the end of the month. Of course, still lots of branded, branded cows, native cows. A lot of chatter, a lot of talk that maybe that market might even be, see some further declines. One big thing that might have a little bit of impact on that cow market is we'll have to keep an eye on VF Corp. They announced that they will not take any more product out of Brazil because of the Amazon fires. It's not determined as to how much of their overall take comes out of that country, but it's reasonable to assume that you might see a little bit more interest poking around in the U.S. cowhide market, maybe the European hide market as well. So that might be good news for those selling cowhides. As far as interest, no change. Limited amount of interest. People trying to bid the prices down. Producers unwilling to take any less. I think steady levels. At the end of the day, I don't know of anybody selling hides last week in the States that was very proud of their sales as far as volume, although they will all lay claims to being able to trade at their asking prices, but definitely did not clear the harvest. Speaking of the harvest, we got it right up here on our screen. Last week it came in at 644. That is 10,000 less than the week before. We have been writing in our daily bulletins that the Packers, yes, they're making a ton of money, but they can't continue these large kills on Saturdays without risking their labor force, because the unemployment numbers are low. Packers have a difficult time trying to run as much as they would like to, even though they're making hundreds upon hundreds of dollars per head. Some of the people that like to count the Packers' money are telling folks that they're making over $400 a head, which is unprecedented for I can't even remember a time in my 30 years that we've seen margins at these levels. So compared to a year ago at 645, so for the year we're still up 1.2%, just about 250,000 head roughly. So the big numbers are going to continue. It's just a matter of Packers are going to have to get a balance with their labor, but still look for something in the neighborhood of probably after this week, 630, 640 seems like a reasonable number for now. And no new word on when the Tyson plant will be back up and running in Finney County. Some chatter, some speculation by pundits is they're hoping to get that thing up running before the end of this year. So we'll have to see. So if we hear any more, we'll be sure to let you know. Reports from overseas in Europe, really no change. Everybody just coming back from vacation. There's been some chatter, some voluminous type business for some people at levels that would be lower than the prices reported in our price guide, which that happens quite a bit when they do volume. That's leading some people to think that maybe they're starting to see a bottom of the market over in Europe. We'll have to see how that plays out, but certainly nothing lower than the last trade. Out of Brazil, as mentioned earlier, they're going to have one less buyer for some of their material. They're still struggling to get product moved, especially in the blue and crust. On the fresh hides, that continues just pressure. A lot of hides going to the landfill in Brazil. The collagen people are trying to take what they can. The doggy chew people are taking what they can. But it's just, there's so much product down there. The packers just can't get out from underneath. The tanners, they can't get out from underneath their inventory. They can't even make a profit, I should say, selling anything from a TR2 and lower. So TR1s, I'm hearing about 40, maybe 45 cents. There was rumors of some people asking more money while they were traveling, but I don't know if that market's strong enough to be able to warrant higher prices. Our friends over in Australia report really no change to the market. Harvest levels running a little bit above normal due to some drought-like conditions in many parts of the country. That is going to take a toll on numbers for next year because there's cattle coming to market that are a little bit green. But with the way the situation's set up on a climatic basis, they need to bring the animals in, because they just can't afford to feed them. So we will see lower numbers more than likely next year in Australia versus what we're seeing this year. So the export report in the United States came out. I alluded to that here just a couple, 3 minutes ago. As far as whole cattle hide sales, we'll call it 335,000 for round numbers. Shipment of the wet salted hides about 350,000. Sales of wet blue 90,000. Shipments of wet blue about 125,000. That's the third week in a row we've had just lackluster sales numbers hovering around that about 400 mark, maybe 4.25. Kill, as I talked about earlier, running about 640, 650. That's why these hides are stacking up on people. Of course, going into this week, no one's going to want to take less money before the show. That's kind of a mortal sin, if you would. But I think the big packer market is exhibiting signs of fracturing a little bit. It appears to be a little toppy. We'll have to see if these guys selling cow hides can hang on and continue to sell at steady levels. There's just so much product out there. So just a heads up, I will not be at the Shanghai Fair. Apologies to our readers and our members. I have some personal conflicts that I wasn't able to make the trip this year, but we hope to see everyone next year at the show. So that's it for this week. Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. Hey, check out my website, www.themaxfieldreport.com. I offer free 14-day trials. Give it a shot. No obligations. Until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks.